Well, I want to give you a couple rational reasons why rational reasons, is that a word actually? Is that why the New World Order is going to fail in the long run? And I know you should not be too complacent about that the New World Order is going to fail in the long run because you got to make it fail. You got to be a little bit sand in the wheels. Now, I am actually going to put this out in a little different way because, I know there's a lot of conspiracy channels out there that try to scare people too much. I'll give you some of the facts, but the thing is, I'm not here to upset you. That's the whole deal. That's the difference in my style, generally speaking, on this channel. Now, I'm showing here an old Dodge. I don't know what year this is. It's 59, maybe? 60? Something like that. You could tell me. But there's a reason I'm showing this old Dodge here because it's like when they're going to have this New World Order, it's going to have to be born out of the destruction of a lot of nations and a lot of economies and mass chaos and everything. And it's going to be sort of like, this is going to be our nation, the old Dodge here. So they're going to have to resurrect it and put it back together and mold it into the fashion that they want, which is the New World Order. Now, this thing is planned. I mean, they've been doing this kind of garbage for umpteen years. I think they've been thrown off the tracks a few times by people with good conscience. And I'm going to bring up some points because it's very easy to theorize in your head, especially if you're not the person that's actually doing the job. You're not there on the ground doing the work. So in other words, say you're looking at this picture of this old Dodge. Now let's just compare this, like we're going to reconstruct, the old Dodge, it's all rusty and it's a rusting Hulk, is representative of the nation of the United States after the economic collapse or there's a war or whatever the hell happens. These doom and gloom videos we got out here, right? They say this stuff happens and it's planned, it's part of the New World Order. Now they're going to bring it back. But they're going to mold it into what they want, right? The New World Order, da da da. But the thing is, it's just like you're the guy. I'm going to take this car and I'm going to freaking restore it. Now, have you ever restored a car before? Has the New World Order ever created a New World Order before? No, they haven't. It's pretty easy to say, well, I'm going to take this thing, I'm going to take all the rust off it, strip all the paint, pound out all the dents, replace any rusted holes, and get a new engine for it and all this kind of crap, and sew up a new interior, just like you do on this other car here. It's real easy to theorize this in your head. And it's real easy to say, yeah, I got this timetable. But I can almost compare. This is like, I don't know. It's a crazy analogy, but I just want to it's just food for thought, really. But it's almost like sometimes you can have all the best laid plans, but they go awry, especially when you don't have the experience in something. Because all these people, like give an example. Who's like a couple of New World Order advocates that are pretty famous, that are public figures? Ted Turner, right? He's a guy that says the population of the globe should be 300 to 400 million. After we got over 8 billion people on the earth. Bill Gates is another one. He's another population control freak with vaccinations and stuff, right? He's another one, right? So I'm telling you some serious stuff here, but I'm kind of giving you. But what the hell do these people really know? Ted Turner knows how to do, movies. Make movies online with reproducing, putting the old movies online. He knows how to do that, right? Great. He's a media guy. What the hell does he know about controlling the earth? And Bill Gates, he's the freaking yo-yo with the freaking, stupid operating system that keeps, Windows crash and burn, or it used to be crash and burn. Now it's spy on you left and right, They stabilize the operating system so it spies on you. But, what do these people really know about the real world? Nothing. It's like they're walking into another scenario. It's like you theorizing on the internet saying, yeah, I can restore this car. Yeah, I could do this. Yeah, it'll take me a week to do that. It'll take me a week to do this. And, yeah, I'll have it in this shape right away, And then from there, I'm going to put the glossy paint on to get the rest of the chrome and, yeah, get all the fine tuning and the windows and everything installed in the moldings and interior and the dash and all the wiring. And, yeah, it's not going to take that long. And, it winds up being years. But say you got somebody, that you're working with that's in the shop that's throwing sand in the works, literally like throwing sand in the paint or putting a couple of dents or something or in the panels or something or cracking a glass or maybe sabotaging the engine. It's like That's what the New World Order is going to have to be dealing with, because even amongst their ranks, that they think they got all controlled, there's going to be a lot of dissidents that are going to be just blowing smoke up their wazoos. Sort of like what Trump was doing with the Clintons over the last 20-something years, except for the last couple of years, when he was saying Bill Clinton was the greatest president in the world. I think, I love Hillary Clinton. I guess he was playing them like a bunch of chumps, man. So, I mean, which surprised me. I could not figure that guy out from day one, to tell you the truth, but I guess he's a legit patriot. But, that's another subject, too. I'm going to tell you right now, I think the big catastrophe that's going to happen in the United States, I know there's a lot of conspiracy channels out there now telling you the big catastrophe in the United States is going to happen between now and the election, and Obama's going to stay on, and I don't know, maybe not. I don't know if that's all that shit's true, but I think when their big catastrophe is going to happen and when Trump gets in, and he's got the big slogan, "Make America Great Again," oh, they're going to freaking slam the hell out of the stock markets. They're going to allow the dollar to be devalued. They're going to allow the prices of commodities to go up, oil, especially with gasoline, home heating oil for people, and food prices to escalate. Oh, they're going to do this just to freaking drag them through the coals, and then everybody will vote for some draconian communist dictator after him. It'll be a one-term president. But I think that's pretty much locked on that that's going to happen. But I also want to compare this to, say you're the New World Order guy up there. Just compare it to, just keep it something simple. Hey, just like I could do that. I could create a New World Order. It's almost like, well, what's easier to do? Create a New World Order, or is it to restore a couple old cars that are pulled out of a junkyard? It would be a lot easier to restore a couple old cars you pull out of a junkyard. But I'm giving a loose analogy here. And, you realize whenever you get involved in something like pulling an old car out of a junkyard, you open up a can of worms. It's almost like there's a whole bunch of things that you didn't think of that you didn't seem apparent when you first started the job, and it turns out it gets into 10 times as much money, 10 times as much length of time, and 10 times as much headache. And on top of it, you're also going to be working with people that might be trying to sabotage what you do. So you're envisioning an end result like this pretty, what is this, custom Cadillac or something, whatever the hell this damn thing is. And, it's not going to come out like that. Now, on top of that, there's other parts that's in the New World Order that just doesn't fit the geometrics of the rigid plans that where they have everything structured. It's going to happen like this, it's going to happen like that. We got these plans, and it's a timetable. It's all written down like, freaking German Nazis would have or something. You always got the human element. The human element is like the wild card. And I can tell you that, I read a lot of books on ancient Roman history, and I know what happened. There's a lot of things that happened in Rome why it fell apart. I mean, they lost their discipline and stuff, but after a while, they were kick-ass in the early days in like 200 BC, and then by the time they get around 200 AD, they weren't so kick-ass like they used to be. But what happened is once they got invaded by other people, what happened is the people that invaded them became corrupted by their ways too. In other words, you might have, the hardcore warriors coming down from, the tribes and the Visigoths or whatever the hell it is, or the Huns or whatever, and they're coming into the Roman Empire. They're kicking ass, and say that's what's going on in the United States. Maybe you got foreign troops here and shit like that. But you know what happens? They get corrupted by our ways, and that actually happened with the most hardcore warriors that conquered Rome, when they actually conquered Rome. What happened was they saw the vineyards, they saw the nice warm weather, they saw the hot babes and the orgies and stuff like that. They went to the chariot races, and they made bets on the chariot races, like, it's the Meadowlands Sports Arena, Giant Stadium in New Jersey. Like they were betting on the horses, and they got corrupted by the ways that Rome had. And, you can also see that happens with a lot of people that come here from, the most strict Islamic lands. They get pretty corrupted sometimes, There's, they get drunks, and they chase women, and they do all kinds of crazy shit they're not supposed to be doing with their strict religion, right? I mean, that's what happens. And I remember even in Bosnia when they had the Russian troops over in Bosnia. I mean, they had a lot of problem with drunks. I mean, a lot of times even the Russian troops, they got the real hardcore Spetsnaz that Putin always likes to show on his RT channel. But then you got all these other guys that are like, the Ukrainians kind of best describe them. Like, you stay away from the Spetsnaz. You don't freaking mess with those guys. I think I'm saying that right, hopefully. But the ones you don't, you ain't got to worry about is the other ones they describe as the homeless drunks. That's kind of like the hell they are. So, I mean, a lot of times when they got everything all laid out on paper and they think they got it all figured out, when it actually comes into play, it's like one big mishmash. Everybody, it's kind of like a big free for all. And that's the problem that the New World Order has. I don't want to make light of this. I mean, it's serious. There's some crap coming up that we see on the other side of it is it doesn't take that much sand that you need to throw into the works to really screw them up. Because all these myopic dictator asshole planners on the top, that there is a conspiracy to control freak assholes. I mean that's just human nature. I mean, there always is control freak assholes that try to lord over everybody else for their own profit. That's just kind of how the game is. But our country's supposed to be division of powers, so we don't have that problem. But you know how that went. We got the Federal Reserve and the big corporations, the big banks, and they kind of screwed up the division of powers because the big banks and the big corporations control the government, which in turn controls us, right? But I know like on a lot of these channels up on YouTube, they'll have like all these problems that are coming up, like the FEMA camps and you're on you're marked for whatever re-education or death or whatever the hell it is. I mean, they're putting all that stuff out there, and I think there's something to it. I mean, I think there really is. But you got to remember, the best laid plans are being done by people that never really done this shit before, and it's probably not going to take a whole hell of a lot to freaking screw them up. And once you start screwing some of that stuff up, it doesn't take a lot to freaking cause chaos and disorder in the ranks of people they supposedly think they got control over. And that's just how it works. So, I mean, America is going to survive. That's the way I look at it. America's going to always bear fruit. America is actually going to stay strong one way or another. It might be a little bit different America, but you remember back, well, you don't remember back, but if you look back in history books, back in the 1700s, actually America wasn't that big of a powerhouse. We were kind of a agricultural society that had cottage industries that were in a home. We didn't even have the industrial society that didn't come on to the late 1800s. I mean, for the first basically 100 years of America wasn't that strong. And it's probably better that we're not that strong. Maybe it's best that we go back to an agricultural society with cottage industry and just do most of the crap on our own. Hey, we might not have as much, but you know what? Well, at least we'll have fun. That's why I look at it. So that's what I look at it. And, I'm not really trying to upset people with this video, but I want to tell people, well, obviously I'm not trying to upset people with this video, but, the deal with the New World Order conspiracy theories, and I know about 911. I knew about 911 was a setup, and they put charges in the building, and I know all about the Federal Reserve before the freaking internet was around and what the Federal Reserve was doing. I know about Bretton Woods agreement. I know about what happened with the JFK assassination. I knew the real causes of World War I when I was 14 years old when I was going to school in high school because the professors told me. I knew about the real causes of World War II. And even years before, about a decade before, Senator Guy Gillette came out with that book, None Dare Call It Infamy, about Pearl Harbor. I knew all about that. Now, I can actually lay out a lot more stuff, and actually I might do that. I've been telling people I'm going to be doing this on BitTube if I got to put some more serious shit out, because they get mad on YouTube if I go put some too serious shit out on here. And I know, I tell you the truth, I mean, we might be coming up, I mean, honestly, we might be coming up to nuclear war, man. I think they're trying to push the Russians really hard and, push Putin over the edge, and maybe they'll use that as an excuse for bringing in a new world order. I don't know. I don't know. I don't freaking know, man. But the point of this video is that they really don't have everything locked on like you think. That's the thing. You can never really control the troops. especially when you got a multinational troops. Crap, you can't even control troops that well when they're all coming from the same nation. That's why they do all the drills and stuff like. But they don't even have time to do all that shit. A lot of times, if you don't have the troops in their willingness to do something, well, you know, they don't do it as well. That's the problem. It's like, which people have the most will to do? It's like defend their own area, defend their own home, defend their own country, defend their own well-being, and their own property. Right? They got a lot of impetus to do that, but a lot of people that are just paid to do something, they don't have a lot of incentive to do something. And a lot of times that's when discipline breaks down. Yeah, it doesn't break down as long as everything's going to plan, but a lot of times things don't go into plan. You got to remember who the hell's planning this New World Order? A bunch of decrepit old geezers like David Rockefeller and Henry Kissinger and scum like that freaking George Soros, they got one foot in their grave and they could barely freaking get around, for crying out loud. I mean, you think about it. I mean, who the hell is actually, that's a troop, is inspired by these people? Nobody. I can tell you that right now. So it's almost like they're not, we got a lot of fear like, I mean, I'm not totally against this Alex Jones guy, but I kind of think he's, I don't know what the hell to think of the guy. A lot of times I think he's just a plain fear monger for profit, but then sometimes I think he's somewhat semi-legit. I mean, that's one famous example, but a lot of times people are just fear mongers, and I don't really like that, but I'm telling you, I just told you a bunch of stuff that indicates that I'm quite well aware of what the hell's been going on for many years, but I also have this common sense about me that people who think they can do something or they think they got it all figured out, or like, yeah, I got a plan to do this, I got a plan to do that, or I'm going to do this tomorrow, I'm going to do this, and I'll have all this done by next week. It's like, give an example. The New World Order and taking a couple old cars out of a junkyard. Compare those two, right? It's a lot easier to take a couple old cars out of a junkyard, say a few people, and then restore them, right? Well, it comes down to it. It's not that easy. You run into a lot of problems. Maybe it's a dumb analogy, but it's not, to control the entire earth is insurmountably more difficult than to just do this. If you know anything about some of these projects, when you get involved in these cars, man, they get crazy, man. Sometimes it takes you 10 times longer than you think, 10 times as much money. And if you got some apprentices working for you that don't want to go along with the program too well, they're screwing you up. That's exactly what's going to be happening with these New World Order know-it-alls. So, not to take it lightly, not to say that you don't want to worry about it at all, but then again, you shouldn't be freaking out so much. I mean, I hear all these stories about, Department of Homeland Security's got, enough rounds to kill everybody in the United States freaking umpteen times over again, but then again, they got enough rounds that we could steal to use it against them. Haha, you know what I mean? There's a lot of different ways it could work. As a matter of fact, shrewdness is everything. Just like the Mossad will tell you a lot of times, man. Deception's the key, man. you know, don't paint over the rust sometimes. Well, maybe that's what you got to do to freaking fool them. We paint it over the rust to make it look good. But the other thing is, like I said, the human element is like the unknown. It's like no matter how much they try to control it. I mean, this shit's been tried so many times before. I mean, you think about, people were very intelligent back in the past. I think even in the past, people were more intelligent. Like ancient Rome, for instance. Some of the best leaders. What happened to Crassus? What happened to Caesar? What happened to Caligula? What happened to Commodus? What happened to a lot of people? I mean, they thought they had it all figured out, right? And they went, they're dead. They died, So, I mean, this could possibly happen with a lot of New World Order people, too. But I don't want you people to take it lightly because I think it's serious shit. But if you're prepared, you got, your eagle eye out there for the situation, it's going to be conquered. But just don't take it lightly. And then on the opposite side of it, don't get like a doe staring at the headlights, where that's where these fear mongers on YouTube are always playing into the situation. So I'm probably going to put some more serious shit out I'm not gonna put a lot of videos out on this BitTube shit if I ever get signed up on that, but I'm gonna probably keep like this is like not something that YouTube's gonna get pissed off at, obviously, but um, I'll probably put some more serious shit on there, but I'm not gonna put too many of those out on there anyway because I'm not of that method. I'm not of that methodology, and I know a lot of times you got to play it like Cool Hand Luke, but you still got to keep your eye out, your eye on the ball. And well, it's almost like you don't want to panic. Well, it's the same thing, even like if I compare it with shooting a rifle. If you're like, firing on, spray and pray, you're going to miss the target. That's the deal. Now, if you're using sight picture, sight alignment, and you're hurrying up, but you're being slow in hurrying up and taking your time to hurry up. In other words, cautious and accurate in hurrying up. In that way, you're going to hit the target. That's what counts. You want to hit the target. So, in other words, um, people, when they have this attitude about the New World Order or something, I mean, yeah, it exists. It's been around. It's the same kind of shit. The same kind of crap's been going around with the human race forever. But it's not something to be taken lightly. It's not something to be ignored. It's not something to say, oh, you can worry about that. But then you don't want to be worrying about it too much. But a little common sense tells you these people that are trying these plans to control us, it's a daunting task. And, it's almost like it doesn't take a lot to throw them off, to mess them up. And a lot of times, the direct frontal assault method is not the best way to do it. It's like the end way around it. You know, you got to be shrewd. That's really what it is. Um, and you got to be not cooperative. That's another thing too. I mean, if people if they're trying to make you take flu shots in California, tell them to go shove it. That's what I tell them, right? We don't want a flu shot full of mercury and shit like that, right? You wind up like this chick. She'd be like with her tongue hanging out, going, "Ooh, I got a flu shot. I'm anorexic and my tongue's hanging out. I don't know where the hell I am." Anyway, that's what she's got a flu shot. But yeah, so just want to have a little pep talk video here because I was thinking about this shit a little bit. I says, how do I want to put out some of this stuff? Because I know it is a problem. I know people are kind of worried about it, and you should be kind of worried about it, but don't be overly worried about it. Like, you got to watch InfoWars every day, or else we're kind of on a run. I'm not too cool on that guy all the way, to tell you the truth. But I don't know. I guess he's got a purpose too, so whatever. But I got my style and things, and I think I got a little bit of unique style. But you know, just like everything, man, go with the flow. And two wheels rule, and you know, just the way things got to roll. We got to roll with the freaking punches and roll down the road. And just get to the target and get down to our goals. Because if we don't think about, if we're constantly worrying about all the little bullshit on the side of the road or what's on the road or what kind of potholes we got, you just keep your eye on your goal, and you're going to get to your goal. And if somebody's trying to screw you up, maybe you don't want to hit them head on, but you want to throw a little deflection at them every once in a while, and that's probably all it's going to take to screw up the New World Order. Ask old Blondie here, man. She's been, I think she screwed him up too. Who knows?